What's up, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of Game Time here live on the Game Time Sports Channel. I am the Outlaw John Rocha, writer, producer, and host here on Game Time, and excited to welcome back to the show as he's been coming back every week here. Dallas Cowboys own, but somehow co-opting the Los Angeles Dodgers. Winston A. Marshall, how are you, Winston? What's going on there, buddy boy? How you feeling? What's going on here? You're from Houston, right? Last I checked. What's going on there?
I'm from Dallas. I don't support those cheating ass fucks out of Houston. Get out of here. Them Astros can suck all of the dirty tires out there in the streets. I immediately took a left turn because I was like, I realized what I was about to say. And I was like, let me chill. I'm a chill. No, Rangers over everything, but like I've lived in LA for 18 years, so which now is a split between the two cities. So the Rangers, just like the Rangers, the Cowboys, and the Mavs and the Stars will always get preferential love from me. That's just how that is. But at this point, the LA teams, not the Rams, I don't really fuck with the Rams, but the LA teams, other than that, have become like my secondary teams to root for. So, I've been to God knows how many Dodger games the last 18 years.
I don't know.
One of my best friends from college was born and raised out here, and he's out here. I got to make sure he don't die tonight if they do pull this sweep off. So, like, baby, come on. Dodger
New York game like that. I hear you've been tweeting Christian Harloff. He's not happy about it. He says he's not happy about it.
Did I tweet at him? I just been sending him just text messages. Yeah. I just said 1, 2. Last one I even said the 3. I just sent the eyes emoji. Just
he said, "Who are you to text him like that? You're such a new fan." So who knows? I don't get involved in these squabbles.
Is that a new fan? Or is that literally how often do we play each other? Twice a year. And we'll constantly being like, damn, y'all trash. Shut up, man. You ain't gonna get past the first round. And now I'm gonna have to be like, great. You're probably going to the Super Bowl, you jackhole.
It's gonna be a tough game tonight. Last night, I think David Ortiz nailed it when he said the body language on the Yankees and in the fan base was one of worry and concern. And sure enough, because I've been a Yankees fan since I was 10 years old, watching that game last. Oh yeah. Because we didn't have baseball when I was a kid in DC, right? The Senators weren't there, and then the Washington Nationals didn't come till I left DC. So for me, the Yankees were my team. Yeah. So because I hate
you coming at me sideways. I was like, where is this hostility coming from? I was like, what the fuck is this?
Where's Winston? Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, but no, that's the situation there. I've been a fan. So like last night watching that game was so frustrating, man. So frustrating. And just seeing clearly that the Yanks just aren't hitting. They aren't hitting, and they're not hitting at the wrong time. I don't think the Dodgers pitching is that astronomical. It's more that the Yankees aren't getting contact on those balls. And so the Dodgers are taking advantage of it. And Freddie Freeman has come to play. And there's no one on the Yankee side of things. Yeah. Even after all those injuries this year. It's incredible. Yeah.
I mean, the other thing I think you got to take into consideration is just the fact that everybody immediately, they've got all this crazy pitching power and Aaron Judge, blah, blah, blah. But what y'all genuinely look like, how this series has played out, you look like my Rangers in our first World Series appearance against the Giants, where we almost got swept.
Oh, yeah.
Where we lost 3 in a row, and the first 2 games were competitive, but we didn't do it. We barely won game 3 or game 4.
Yeah.
And then they finished it, and they did a gentleman's sweep in 5. So, like, I could easily see a sweep or a gentleman's sweep happening right now because y'all at this point already look like you've decided you've lost, whereas the Dodgers, especially because they're still worried about Ohtani and the dislocated shoulder, are like, no, go. Foot on neck. Go.
That's what it looks like to me. It looks very clear the Dodgers are ready to take this one. A lot of people thought, well, it'll go 6 or whatever, 7 possibly, but this looks like it could be a sweep. We'll find out tonight. I
thought y'all were going to give – maybe you will. But I genuinely was like, this is going to 7. There's no way, not with the history of these teams, not with how stacked the Yankees actually are, but I don't know.
Yeah. And the last time the Dodgers swept a team, I think, in the World Series was the Yankees back in the 1960s. But that was like a way more formidable pitching lineup for the Dodgers with Don Drysdale. So yeah, it's been a bit.
So what you're telling me is,
yeah,
we're making America great again.
We are, yeah, absolutely.
Oh God, that hurt my soul to even remotely joke about. Oh God, spirit is just drained.
The worst thing I saw today was Netflix tweeted out that documentary series that they have out right now about the Red Sox and their comeback on the Yankees. And they said, it can't be done, Yankees. And I was like, oh, get that shit out of here. Get that shit out of here.
The funnier part was Big Papi not singing on in rhythm, talking about they not like us, they not like us. He's like, we come back, they not like us. I was like, yo, Big Papi, chill, bro. I know you hate the Yankees, but chill.
Come on, Papi. I can still see the needle marks in your butt, Papi. Don't lie to me. Anyway, all right, let's move on to some NFL action here. Thank you all so much for joining us here on this Tuesday afternoon. This is when we could schedule, so we're having some fun talking about Week 8 NFL news, and then we're going to talk a little bit about that Dwayne Wade statue and look at some of those memes. We're going to talk about that Nick Bosa nonsense that he pulled as well. So there's a lot we're going to get into here in the show. If you want to send in your Streamlabs, we don't have super chats on this one yet because we haven't crossed 1,000. Send in your Streamlabs. The address is right above our heads there. Of course, we've already got one already from Fredtastic, so we'll definitely get to yours in a little bit, Fred, for sure. But send them in as we go along. So let's start with the first one here. And I can't believe I'm leading the show with my Commanders, Winston A. Marshall, but Jayden Daniels Hail Mary touchdown here as time expired after the Bears had gone up by 2, I think, or by 1, led to the Washington Commanders getting the victory here, 18-15. Daniels scrambled around for nearly 13 seconds, then heaved the ball from the Washington 35-yard line with no time on the clock. One of the Bears defenders who had been whooping it up with the fans and making fun of the fans and had to be told by the Bears fans that the play was still going on, ran back into the play, and he was the guy that ended up tipping the ball backwards to Noah Brown, who caught that ball as time expired. And as Jim Nantz said, it's a miracle, and the Commanders won. I was in my underwear yelling my full face off in the middle of my living room. My girlfriend almost turned the hose on me to calm me down. It was an insane game, but an insane ending to the game, but certainly not what people expected, Winston. A lot of people thought number 1, number 2 coming in, both of them with high-powered offenses, young rookie quarterbacks. People thought this might be a shootout, but this was much more of a defensive struggle through a majority of the game before the final burst of offenses from both sides. What do you think of this game and that Hail Mary?
I mean, it feels like I understand that the Dan Quinn puts crazy defenses together. That's why I'm upset that he's not with us anymore. But Caleb looked like he regressed. I mean, 10 for 24, 131. You got 41 on the ground off of 10 carries. But a lot of that was because it felt like you felt yourself in trouble. And, DeAndre Swift wasn't even doing well. He just had one 56-yard long run. That for a touchdown that changed his stat line, because I was watching that the whole time via fantasy football apps, and I was like, bro, why is he such ass right now? To the point where I was debating all morning, because I have Jayden Daniels and Caleb Williams, because I had originally took Tua and Jayden. Obviously, Tua died. So then I put in Jayden, and he's been just rolling. And I needed a backup, so I dropped Tua because I didn't know how long that was going to be, if he was going to retire. I picked up Caleb, and Caleb went off the last few weeks. So I was sitting here like, Jesus, with Jayden coming off the rib injuries, do I play Caleb? And by the time I processed it and looked at the clock, it was 10:01, and I was like, I guess I just got to leave Jayden in. And thank God that I did, because he had a far superior game here.
For sure.
In a defensive stand that was pretty crazy. So I think what we're seeing is not only I've got a pretty sound idea that y'all are going to win the division. I do think you're going to drop a game to the Eagles and a game to us, not because we're good, but just because division rivals, and and Dak always plays exceptionally well against Washington. So I think we'll steal 1, but that's only 2 losses I see in the immediate future. Like, just let me pull your schedule real quick. You got the Giants next week. That should be an easy cakewalk. Hopefully you got the Steelers, because you're dealing with the Russell Wilson version now. Who knows if they play kind of the same they've played. I think you will lose at Philly. Okay. This coming week. Then you'll lose, I think, to us on. That's not Thanksgiving. That's the week before. So I think you'll lose to us the last season of the last game of the season, but at that point, you won't. No. You'll lose to us in Dallas, but I think at that point it won't matter for you. I think you'll have it locked up by then. You'll beat the Titans. You'll beat the Saints. You'll beat the Eagles that second time at home, and then you'll beat the Falcons. So, like, I think you're literally only about to lose 2 games here, and I think you've got the rest on lock. You're going to lock up the division, I believe.
This is tough. I mean, yeah, I think we can beat the Giants. I think the Steelers will be a toss-up, but then again, Russell tried to give that game away last night by fumbling. If Daniel Jones had thrown a couple of better passes, they might have tied that game up before the end of the regular time. So but the Eagles look good. They're starting to hit those cylinders. Jalen Hurts, Saquon. That's a very tough team in Philadelphia. So I think that's going to be a really, really tough test for us. Then we play you guys. I think we can handle you at home. I hear you about losing on the road at you guys. That's certainly possible. The Titans are trash. The Saints look like trash now. We'll beat the Eagles at home, I think. The Falcons is going to be tricky because Kirk Cousins has that team at 5-3 and in first place. And certainly he can put up points on the board, and it all depends on how our defense plays him, because that's a veteran quarterback, and it could be a revenge game with Kirk coming back to Washington. He might want to play really, really well. So it'll be interesting, that Falcons game. And so, yeah, I like the way we look. It all depends on if Jayden can stay healthy. And certainly Jayden, although he threw for 328 yards yesterday, he was still a little limited with 326, still limited with some of his throws. He was off on the timing on some of his throws. So eventually that's going to catch up if they don't heal that rib injury quickly. And he was still taking off for runs, which made me super nervous. But he threw that bomb. I mean, let's take a look at this one, Vince. This was insane to witness and experience the Hail Mary here. And it was mind-blowing how he was able to get away from everybody and able to throw that pass downfield. Look at this. He stepped into it. I saw a lot of people saying, oh, no way, too short. And then it bounced off there. And that's how it got into the end zone. And people went crazy for it. But I know there was I know that if he hadn't thrown that pass, we would have lost. Having had multiple forays into the red zone and coming away with field goals, that wasn't going to get the job done. And eventually the Bears were able to put the offense together in the fourth quarter and come back and take that lead with 35 seconds left. So as good as the victory is, there's still some issues in the red zone for us in terms of our offense and play calling that I think Kingsbury needs to figure out, man.
But again, I lobbed that up to the fact that Jayden is hurt. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like you didn't do well because of that. I mean, he's got 7 touchdowns on the year through the air.
Yeah.
Which you can always improve on that, but he's a rookie. It's going to take time. Yeah. Like he's genuinely handling business in that, like, the only game it looks like that he didn't have a passing touchdown was Carolina, and that's because he got injured, so he had to be pulled. But last few games, he scored a touchdown through the air with Arizona, 1 through the air at Cleveland, 2 against Baltimore, even though that was an L. Like, he's consistently getting at least 1 touchdown per game through the air, and I think that that's huge to know that he's handling his business, and I think that is what is paramount here. You guys have really been pretty decent on defense, but now you have a defensive mind that's handling it. Scary Terry just needed somebody that can consistently get him the ball, and Jayden is doing that. So like, I really think you have one of the more complete teams, and not stuffed with crazy names. Like the thing with the Eagles that I think is slightly their downfall is the fact that they have Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. If they don't start doing it, there's this weird thing where it's like, how do you have this much star power and you can't get it going? You know what I'm saying? There's this own level of like self-implosion of like, we're the fucking Philadelphia Eagles, man. What the hell? So I think you being the underdog here is what gives you your superpowers.
Yeah, I hope so. And Jayden seems so even keel, brother. Like, even when we were losing or winning, he doesn't go. Even when he threw he didn't even see the pass go into the end zone and whatever it was. When people were celebrating, all he did was turn around and put his hands up. He didn't run around whooping it up, jumping around. Dan Quinn did all of that. Jayden didn't do it. And when they asked him about it afterwards, he just gave all glory to God in his responses, and very relaxed. Gave a lot of credit to the team. I don't know where this kid became who he became, but God love him, man. I mean, this is the kind of quarterback you want. An even-keeled guy, gives credit where credit is due, and rolls on to the next game. And I like that energy. We haven't had that in a quarterback in a very, very long time here in Washington. So it's nice to see that happening. But I do want to ask you about this, man. We got to take a look at Tyreek Stevenson, and what he did on this Hail Mary. Now, Winston, I don't know if you've seen this footage, but this is the guy who ended up tipping the ball accidentally to Noah Brown. Here he is talking shit to the fans, pointing to the fans. The play is still going on. And he realizes,
he didn't even know the play started. He didn't even know it started. He was already
right, exactly. He was jawing with the fans, and then he runs into here, 29. Watch him, and that's the one who tips it to Noah Brown. So instant karma in this world came for Stevenson, but to his credit, Winston, he issued an apology on Twitter immediately and said, I should have been handling business. I was too busy doing all the wrong things. I will learn and get better. So got to give him credit, even though he looks like a fool.
I mean, good for you for realizing you effed up, but that's just that's one of those situations like you're only sorry because you got caught.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's pun intended. You were only sorry because you got caught. And the funny thing about it is looking at people that know football better than I do.
Yeah.
You know, the talking heads on ESPN were just like the main problem here is look at how this is set up. Look at each of the defenders, the extra ones that are there, but look at each of the defenders. These are their men. Stevenson's man was Noah Brown. If he had been in the right position, he wouldn't have been near the front of the scrum to hit it. He would have been covering Noah, who was in the back.
Exactly.
That just goes to show that he literally was hoisted by his own petard, man. Like he genuinely screwed himself and his team over like that. So I genuinely hope that he learns from this. And he does better because I'm liking what this young Bears team is doing. And you can't do that. That's that stupid thing, because it happened again this week of someone running in, you beat all the defenders, you're running in and you drop the ball before you actually cross the goal line, and then it's a fumble and you lose the ball. That's that same shit. Finish the game and then go yell at the fans all you want. But until then, do your job.
Yeah. Do your job. Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, I think the Bears can learn some lessons here. I don't think it's like, oh, here we go, terrible again. No, it was a terrible loss, but a heartbreaking loss rather. But I think there are things to improve. The Bears are still coming along. I think the Commanders are a little further ahead than the Bears overall. And Dan Quinn is making that defense grow by leaps and bounds every week, man. It's really surprising. And if the offense and defense can come together, could be an interesting year for these Commanders. We will see as it goes along, depending on his health there for Jayden Daniels. All right, let's move on to your Cowboys, brother. Brock Purdy led the 49ers. Yes, we have to. Led the 49ers to a 30-24 victory last night over these Cowboys. Brock Purdy bounced back from a shaky first half to lead 3 touchdown drives in the third quarter, blanked them 21-0 in that third quarter. And the Niners narrowly avoided another fourth quarter collapse with a late defensive stand against the Cowboys here and got the victory 30-24. Purdy had a TD run, then threw a TD as well. The Cowboys were up 10-6.5. By the time that third quarter was over, it was 27-10. And then San Francisco held on because Drew Prescott threw 2 touchdowns to CeeDee Lamb to bring them back, and then had a chance at the end, but threw 4 straight incompletions after getting the ball with 3 minutes and 5 seconds left. So Prescott was 25 of 38 for 243 yards, and Lamb caught 13 passes for 146 yards. But at the end of the day, Winston, it's another loss for these Cowboys, and against a shorthanded Niners team. What do you take out of this?
We're just a bad team. I mean, I said this last week. I said we were going to lose. Even if all of their stars didn't play. Debo almost didn't, was kind of in and out. Kittle was dealing with the foot issue, but had a 6-reception, 128 touchdown game on National Tight End Day and got the belts. You had a situation where Jordan Mason was already dealing with some shoulder issues, and you had next man up and Isaac Guerrero out here doing his job. 85 yards and a touchdown, his first touchdown of his career, man. Like we're not a good team, and that is not necessarily because Dak is that bad. What the situation is that you did not, as I've said all season, and everybody that follows football has been watching too, you did not fix your run defense. You did not develop a run game. And in doing so, you can't control the clock. You can't stop the clock from getting away from you. And you're forcing Dak to have to make plays. And the follow-up question is, who is our second option? Because Brandon Cooks is hurt. He ain't been around this whole time. Ferguson really hasn't been that guy that we needed him to be like that. I mean, sure, 6 receptions, but for 23 yards, you had to force 17 targets to CD. CD is phenomenal, but at a certain point, people are going to be like, maybe we should just double and triple team CD the whole game because they ain't got nobody else left. So when you're making Dak force shit in there, of course, people are going to be like, well, he's only going to throw it to CD.
Yeah.
Whoever's playing man on the other dude, just they'll screw up. They'll fall down. They'll do the wrong route. Just be ready. And then that's it. Like, there's nothing like that's the problem when people are like, oh, Dak is such ass. No, it's that Dak legitimately is put in a situation where he has to put the entire team on his back and does not have reliable options to help him do that. It is just him and CD out there. And that to me is crazy. And that's why I wasn't here last week. I was so mad that during the bye week, you had a situation of Jerry Jones actually having the audacity to say, not that we didn't have the money in the cap room. He wouldn't have fit into our offense. That was the thing. The way Derrick Henry plays, he probably wouldn't have had that career with us because he just didn't fit in our. Bitch, you make him fit. Are you kidding me? Because Derrick Henry didn't fit into the Ravens offense, and guess what they did? They made him fit. And Lamar Jackson looks like he's probably going to get another MVP, let alone Derrick Henry will probably be there getting some votes his goddamn self because he's going to clear 2,000 yards pretty handily, it feels like. So literally this season, I put the entirety of the season on Jerry Jones because at this particular moment, you made a lot of really bad decisions. You played with the money with the 2 stars that needed to be paid this summer until the very end. You didn't go get any free agents. You brought in a washed-up defensive coordinator. You let the actual good coach on the team go. You didn't fix any of the problems. And then you have the audacity that when people call that out to threaten people with their jobs for asking real questions. I put this entirely at Jerry Jones. I know the team is playing bad, but you made these decisions to put us in this position, man. So,
yeah, I think that's a fair point. Does that mean McCarthy escaped scrutiny in your mind? I mean, or do you think that McCarthy
He's been catching scrutiny for years. The motherfucker needed to go. He's but that again falls on Jerry because I don't write McCarthy's checks. Because if I did, I would have said, you're done. Dan Quinn, would you like a head coaching job? Bill Belichick, would you like a head coaching job? Like, there's a number of people I would have called before. Hell, Harbaugh making the Chargers out here look good. You could have called that motherfucker and be like, hey, man, you trying to come to Dallas, bro? Ain't no tax on your income. Like, you could have Dak Prescott, Micah Parsons, what you want. Like,
that's a fair point. I think you're right about the Jerry Jones situation. I just wonder if he's going to make the move on McCarthy before the end of the season. You know, the Jets got rid of Robert Saleh, who happened to be on the Green Bay Packers sideline this weekend. This could be an interesting situation if he lets go of McCarthy, but who's on that staff? I mean, not only has he gutted the team and made them reliant on a couple of superstars, he's also gutted the staff, I think, Winston, because there is no one on that staff that could step right in and take over and be a great coach for this football team if they were to let go of McCarthy. No one's really proven themselves to be a head coach to replace McCarthy that's on that staff. So do you think McCarthy just rides out the year with everybody coming after him and everybody coming after Jerry? Is that what you think?
He's going to ride out the year. Jerry has said a couple of times, unless things go completely tits up, Jerry has said a couple of times he doesn't believe in midseason firings. He did that one time with Wade Phillips and the clapper, and he just didn't like how that played out. He doesn't feel like it's productive. So fine. I have a feeling McCarthy will make it to the end of the year, and then that's it. But what I'm really concerned about is who, by doing this, who would want to come play in Dallas? That is what I'm now concerned about, is how do you convince a free agent? I know the star still has its meaning and stuff like that, but dysfunction in the front office, insane pressure that you've got to put up or shut up for the fans and all that. Who would want to come play in Dallas next season trying to go get free agents based off of how you've set all this up, man? It's so frustrating. It is so incredibly frustrating. So the only thing that I can do, and this is what's so weird to me, I'm not cheering for you guys, but the fact that I'm like good for Jayden Daniels this entire time and good for like you and Ellis, because I'm just like, man, y'all been suffering. Maybe it's your time. Or I'm just like, three-peat Chiefs, do it. I want to see something that's never happened before because this is a tragedy. I can't watch this. I don't watch with any excitement. I really don't. I just am like, okay, well, here we go.
Yeah. Well, I like the fact that the 49ers came back and got a victory here. I mean, they needed one. It was tough for Dallas to fly across the country and get the victory, but I still think the 49ers needed this victory more maybe than Dallas did at this point, because it seems like Dallas is sliding into a bit of a lost season. The 49ers still think they can somehow right the ship and override these injuries. And I think this is one of those victories where it proves yet again that Brock Purdy is a damn good quarterback. He may not always be consistently great for every quarter, but he does have a moxie to him and a strength and a steel to him to lead a team back when they're looking like they might be losing at home to a team like the Cowboys, who still have big weapons on their squad. So I think this is a good victory for Purdy and the 49ers, and they need it because they're staying in contention in that NFC West situation with their record right now in second place, tied with Arizona. So it's certainly possible here for them to right the ship in time to win the division again,
I think my only thing, though, that I'll say with the Niners, because, yes, they needed this in order to stay alive at this point, just because LA getting the two receivers back. Matthew Stafford looks like a brand new fucking man. Like that team looked crazy. So, like, I think what Brock Purdy's weakness is I think when it's time for him to make big plays, he gets it done.
Yeah.
But all the in between, you cannot be that mediocre in games against teams that aren't effing around. You really can't, because there was a number of moments where the Niners actually could have locked up that Super Bowl, but Brock wasn't able to make the play properly. So when it was time in the last stretch of the game, he stepped up. But if you had done that earlier, we're not having a three-peat conversation. There's a number of times, and it wasn't even necessarily because Chris Jones was in his face. Sometimes it was. Sometimes he just missed a wide open receiver, and it's like, bro. Like, I remember being like, oh, thank God Debo didn't catch that. Like, I had that multiple times because Brock overthrew, underthrew to the left, almost an interception. He has got to tighten that up, because even if you get back CMC and stuff like that, which would be crazy for them and whatnot, it always comes down to quarterback play, and a more veteran team with a sturdy defense is not going to let you get away with this nonsense.
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah. Speaking of three-peats, let's move on to that game here. The Kansas City Chiefs, they took care of business. They're beating the Raiders, their rivals in the division, 27-20. Patrick Mahomes passed for 262 yards and 2 touchdowns here. The Chiefs have won 13 straight now, going back to when they lost to the Raiders at home there to Vegas last year, which was a huge shock. They're 5-0 against the Raiders at Allegiant, 6-0. They're including the Super Bowl in February in terms of winning games there. Las Vegas lost their 4th consecutive game here. It was the first time the Raiders had scored at least 20 points since their victory over Cleveland, 20-16. Mahomes became the fastest quarterback in NFL history to reach 30,000 yards. He accomplished that in his 103rd game. Matthew Stafford, who has the mark, had hit that mark at 109 games. And Travis Kelce showed up in this game, 10 catches for 90 yards as well, and his touchdown catch moved him past Jason Witten, Cowboy Jason Witten, for 5th on the NFL tight end list. Gardner Minshew, 24 of 30 for 209 yards and 2 touchdowns, but he was sacked 5 times. And look, the Raiders at times had this game, but just couldn't figure out what to do with it. There were a couple of drives where they were close to the end zone and just couldn't get the ball across the line. And so the Chiefs get the victory, but there's a lot of questions to start asking about the Raiders and Antonio Pierce. I know Minshew isn't the best quarterback, but there's a lot of talent on that team. And the fact that the owner of the Raiders, Mark Davis, is saying, like, well, we're not going to sell Max Crosby or trade Max Crosby. Why would you doom Max Crosby to stay on a team like this and make him even more disgruntled? So there's a lot of questions to ask of the Raiders. What do you take away from this victory for the Chiefs, though, Winston? Is this pretty much a pedestrian 27-20 victory over a division rival that shouldn't have been as close as it was? And how do you look at them now at 7-0? Like, how do you assess them now?
I hope that their loss comes soon.
Okay.
And I say that because I don't think it actually would be. Don't try and be like, how many times have we learned this? Don't be the Warriors trying to get the record for most wins in a season. Don't be the Patriots. We're going to go completely 18-0. You don't want to do that, because you put an unnecessary extra amount of pressure. It's already enough pressure to win a title. It's even more pressure to win a title back to back. You're now trying to be the first NFL team ever to win 3-0. Now, I'm not telling you to lose. I'm not saying that. That's silly. But I hope that it comes in a place where they can take it on the chin, process it, and then they are just untouchable after that, because I genuinely want to see history made at this particular point. At this point, now that my team is already out of it, I just want to see them make history at that point. And that's it's wild, because there's a lot of teams I'm really rooting for the Ravens. I like what they're doing right now. I love seeing Derrick Henry thrive, man. Like, that is so fun. But there's something about this that, like, with what the Chiefs are doing, they have the formula figured out. I have a strong feeling that after this season, Travis might be done, even though he's got a year or two left on his contract. I think that he's already set himself up for his next career. He's happy in his relationship. He's talked about how tired he is with his injuries and stuff. So I think that this is going to be it. So for their sake, I hope that's the case. And then I'm curious what happens. I'm curious how long Andy Reid stays in Kansas City. If by losing your number one option in Kelsey, how does that change things? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like the receivers that are hurt, who comes back next? Like, I'm already thinking about what their future is, because they clearly are the dynasty of this era. So I'm thinking about beyond this season is what does that mean for them when this is all over? But fun little tidbit. And then I forgot they added DeAndre Hopkins. Jesus fucking Christ.
Yes. I was going to say, well, Hop got in here and he only got a few yards. He only got like three. He was targeted 3 times, finished with 2 catches for 29 yards. So they're working him into the offense. You know how the Chiefs are. 1 second, you're like, oh, I don't think there's a good addition. Next thing, he's getting like 5 touchdowns in the next game. So,
dude, you're essentially setting up by having DeAndre Hopkins there, because he is the best in the game at the 50-50 ball still at his age. And he runs great routes, has great hands. He's not the fastest anymore just because of the injuries and how much older he is. But the fact that you now have another old reliable, that if you were doubling Travis, Xavier can only run the streak. You let D-Hop just kind of do whatever he wants over there. Yeah. Cool. You got the first down. You don't need him to go and score you a bunch of touchdowns. You need him as a release valve of, like, everybody's covered. D-Hop will get this. Go get it, D-Hop. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's scary. But little tidbit for you, since I was reminded by the Swiftie in this household that Travis Kelce actually scored his first touchdown in 13 games on the 13th play of the game. And that is Taylor's lucky number. So clearly she is a demon. She is a witch. She has been on the witch's road and is out here, made herself a billionaire, is about to make her man a 3-time champion and a 3-peat. There are demons at work here, goddamn it. She's a cat lady because witches have cats. You know what I'm saying? She out here with witchy powers.
I've seen Sabrina the Teenage Witch. They do have cats. But looking at the rest of the schedule for the Chiefs, you got Tampa Bay next week. That's going to be a barn burner. I think that's going to be I think that's going to be a high-powered offensive struggle between both teams. Sean Brennan in here had an interesting comment here. Chiefs have not allowed a 60-yard rusher yet this season. That's a hell of a thing after 7 games in, and haven't allowed a 300-yard passer since the Super Bowl against the Eagles. The defense is elite. Now, we know Baker can toss that ball. So it could happen next week that Baker puts up 300 yards passing there on the Chiefs. We will see. But, I mean, they've played what? Baltimore? I mean, Lamar's not known for 300 yards. Burrow, that's a team that's bad right now. Atlanta, the Chargers, New Orleans, San Fran, Vegas, and that's the teams they've played. So there are some good quarterbacks like Herbert on that rundown here. But yeah, the Chiefs defense certainly deserves a lot of credit. And the offense is catching up. Picking up Hopkins is going to be strong. So I think next week's going to be an interesting game. But I'll tell you, 2 weeks from now, when they play Denver, look, Bo Nix is statistically the best rookie quarterback in the NFL right now, over Jayden and Caleb statistically. I think Jayden is still the rookie of the year, and people think Jayden's playing better football. But so it could be interesting, this Denver team against that Kansas City Chiefs team. Kansas City sometimes has a proclivity to look past teams. Could be interesting because they play Buffalo the next week. Will they look over Denver marching into KC getting a victory, or will they handle their business and get ready for these to travel to Buffalo to take on these Bills? So the next 3 weeks, I think, are going to be real interesting for this Chiefs team for sure.
I don't know if that's the case with Bo. I mean, Jayden's got more yards. He's got a higher completion rating at 71.8
Mhm.
versus 63.2. He's averaging 8.4 per pass, where Bo Nix is 5.7. 217 per game versus 191. I don't know where you got that from. Jayden Daniels definitely the better rookie quarterback.
He's got 12 touchdowns, of which leads all rookie quarterbacks. He's also one of 4 rookies since 1970. One of 4 since 1970 with 8 passing touchdowns and 4 rushing touchdowns through his first career. The other 3, Dak Prescott, RG3, and Cam Newton. It's not bad company.
That's good. That's good company to have, because Dak won Rookie of the Year that year too. You're talking about all dudes that ended up winning Rookie of the Year. But I look back at it though. You got to take some other things into consideration. He is a rookie, but he's up there with 1, 2, 3. He's like tied for 4th in that range of 5 interceptions and whatnot. I'm trying to see if I remember correctly. He's taken 10 sacks. Which there are people that are significantly worse, and then as far as just like his QBR and everything goes, like he's 20th. So I hear what you're saying, but I just think that we have seen significantly better rookie performances this year. He's just not to be scoffed at. That's the only thing. I would venture a guess that the at least the one loss coming, I think the Chiefs get a real test out of the Bucks. But I think the Broncos kind of steal one. I actually think they go on a 2-game skid. I think they lose to the Broncos, the Bills, just because they're so damn determined to prove something. They lose there. They don't lose the rest of the season, and they win the Super Bowl is kind of where I think my head's at this point.
If the Chiefs head up to
losing streak and they snap it.
If the Chiefs head up to Buffalo and beat Buffalo again in Buffalo, I mean, I don't want to hear it anymore. Like, honestly, I don't want to hear it. I'm in the Bills Mafia, but even I got to start looking around. You know what I'm saying? No, but here's what I'll say with Bo Nix. Bo Nix for the month of October, right? And we just finished the month of October because like the next game's in November. He ranks first. He ranks first in passing touchdowns amongst all rookie quarterbacks in October. His touchdown to interception ratio is 7-1. That's first. His passing yards, he passed for 870 yards in October, first. Rushing touchdowns, 2, first. And wins, 3, first tied. So those are the rankings for October. So he started out with 2 games where he threw 7 interceptions and no touchdown. Oh no, he threw no touchdowns and 4 interceptions through his first 2 games in September. So the fact that he's turned it around in October, I think Caleb, Jayden's been successful since the start after that first game, but Caleb and Bo are turning it around. This is exciting for the NFL, brother. Like rookie quarterbacks coming in and doing well is very exciting, I think. Yeah.
Well, because we're seeing the end of another era right now. So, you lost Drew a couple years back. You lost Brady recently. Aaron Rodgers is about to be done. Let's be real. That's about a wrap on that.
Not about to be.
Yeah. Kirk's got a few years left at most, but like obviously he's not quite as mobile. And so now the old guard will essentially be Patrick Lamar. Herbert's not quite there yet, but like Dak. Those are the older like veteran QBs in the league. And so you do want to see this fresh blood coming in and doing what they can do. And I love seeing that happen. But Sean, you should stop wishing that you guys don't lose this season. I'm trying to tell you that is an unnecessary amount of pressure. Nobody's asking to lose a game, but stop saying we're not losing. And if you do, good on you. That's amazing. But you really should be careful. I'm serious.
I mean, these are the quarterbacks about to probably enter into their prime here. Joe Burrow, Kyler Murray, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Trevor Lawrence, for better or worse. I think you have to start talking about Brock in that equation as well. CJ Stroud, maybe Sam Darnold, maybe Sam, if this isn't a 1-season thing. Justin Herbert and Jordan Love is now he's getting there. He's not quite there, but Jordan Love is in the conversation. Oh, Goff is in the conversation as well as one of these guys, along with Dak, who are in their prime, so to speak. So you've got Jordan, who's in that middle area between the rookies and the veterans about to go into their prime. So this is, I mean, we're looking at a lot of really good quarterbacks now, Winston. I think we're going to be enjoying every Sunday, seeing what they can do. So, yeah. And speaking of one of those, but
No. I find it really funny Because again, Sean keeps thinking this is this blood feud and all that, but he's like, I want to see Brady call the Chiefs Super Bowl where they do the two things he could never do. It would make me so happy. Is three-peat and undefeated and win. Again, if you do that, I think the conversation is already getting close to an end of discussion about if Patty goes down as the GOAT. It's not there yet because that's still how many Super Bowls did Brady win? But if Patrick does both of those things, all of a sudden you got to be like, fuck, bro. Because that would also mean, like you said, they've won, 13 in a row now?
Yes, 13 in a row. Right.
So that would mean in order to win the Super Bowl like that, it would still be 18 win. No, it would be 17 in the regular season. You would get a bye because it would be undefeated. So then you would play one game, two games.
No, two, because you'd have to play the divisional round.
So three, so it'd be 20 games. We've already done 8. Yeah. So, my God, why am I so bad at math right now?
It's 24. Awful at math. It's 20. The answer is looking for is 24.
It's 24. They would win 24 games in a row. 24 in a row, bro. 24. Kobe, one over Jordan. One over Jordan. If right now Brady is Jordan, one over Jordan, Kobe, bro. Kobe, Black Mamba mentality, motherfucker.
So true.
25.
So this is going to be at 24 wins. That's a lot, man. Especially with the husk of Travis Kelce back there. I don't know if they can do 24 wins. And I agree with you. I think they got to take one loss at least, or take a break on a couple of games. And who knows if they're going to play Mahomes and other players like in the last 2 games of the season. If they are undefeated all the way up to there, why would you? Why risk injury? Why risk hurting them just to win out and take the chance to be undefeated? I don't know if that makes sense, right? Do you want the three-peat or do you want the undefeated season? I think you have to weigh those options in those last 2 games.
Oh, you want the three-peat. Who cares?
Yeah, I think I want the three-peat. Yeah.
If you were only allowed to have one, you take the three-peat, because that's something that will probably never happen again. Like that, the odds of that are pretty slim because it is hard enough. It's damn near impossible to go back to back. Football. And part of that has to do with, it's not that you can't get injured in other sports. It happens all the time. Right. Injuries do not happen at the rate that they happen in football. Like it is so much harder to do it in football.
Yeah. Sean, they're going for immortality. I respect that. Yes, of course. Speaking of one of those teams that they got to play here in a couple of weeks, Josh Allen and the Bills. Josh Allen threw 2 touchdowns and led the Bills to a destruction of the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle, 31-10. Josh Allen threw 2, as I said, and the Bills. James Cooks for the Bills rushed for 117 yards and 2 touchdowns here. The Bills went to 6-2 on the season. Meanwhile, the Seahawks descended into chaos. The 2 defensive linemen on the team got into a fight here. Jaron Reed exchanged punches there with Hall, and that was like. And I'm going to bring it up in the video in just a second. Josh Allen finished 24 of 34 for 283 yards, but Seattle turned the ball over multiple times, and it just, in the end, they just didn't have enough. And Buffalo outgained Seattle 445 yards to 233 yards. Geno went 21 of 29 for 212 yards and an interception for the Seahawks. They only rushed for 32 yards the entire game, did the Seahawks. So that's pretty rough. Buffalo held Seattle to 1 yard rushing in the first half. 1 yard rushing in the first half, Winston. The second lowest rushing yards the Bills had given up in a half this century. Woo, that's insane. So this is a good victory. I mean, the Seahawks they're not an easy team to beat, especially in Seattle with the 12th man in the stadium. 31-10 is pretty comprehensive. Have the Bills kind of climbed out of these last few weeks in the rut and bringing in Amari Cooper? Are we seeing that the Bills are now starting to maybe find themselves a little bit, or was this one of those anomaly wins and they still got some issues to overcome?
I mean, I think it's this, man. You play against a mid-team or lower, the Bills will embarrass you. If you play a real contender, they start to struggle. Either they lose the game very closely, or they get embarrassed. So the one thing I will say, because they only have the 2 losses on the season,
Yeah.
but they're against the Ravens, a legitimate contender.
Legitimate loss. Yeah,
And then,
totally.
and then the Texans, a legitimate contender. I
Yep.
don't think that the Cardinals are a legitimate contender. I don't think that the Dolphins are, because you lost a lot of time not having Tua around, and you got to get through the Bills to do this.
Yeah.
The Jaguars aren't a legitimate contender. The Jets have proven that they're not. And I know that you barely won that game, but they're not. And then the Titans ain't doing a damn thing. Like, when it comes to teams that actually have a shot at the Super Bowl, they struggle. They either lose handedly or they start getting in their own way. So let's see here. When you play the Chiefs, again, I think because there's this weird thing of I got to prove something. I think they win that game, but I think they lose to the Niners because they'd be healthy by then. I think they lose to the Rams. I literally think they go on a 3-game skid. I think they beat the Chiefs and then they lose to the Niners, Rams, and Lions. And everybody starts to panic, being like, what are they going to do? They close out the season, undefeated with a 3-game winning streak. And then it's like, all right, well, where are we in the playoffs? What do you do now? Man, oh man.
Yeah, look at here's the footage of the linemen going at it here on the sideline, Winston. You don't want to see this. You don't want to. I mean, look at that. You don't want to see that, man. You don't want to see them two players get mad at each other, grabbing each other's helmets. This is a bad look. That means your team is starting to slowly fall apart. That's not a good look for Seattle to have that happening between them. So,
that's your rookie. That's where your rookie head coach needs to step in, and some people need to be benched for a minute for doing shit like that, because that's some replacements shit.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you remember that movie, but the linemen arguing with each other because they keep calling the Japanese sumo wrestler Bonsai, and they keep calling the two black brothers like Sanford and Son, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're going back and forth jabbing. Now they're fighting, and it's like, can you focus on the defense, bitch? Like, so I think what it is that the Seahawks are like a mid team. I think that they will make playoffs, but I don't know if they're going to do much more than that, because it's also weird that Kenneth Walker's been very Jekyll and Hyde. I don't know if maybe he's still holding an injury we don't know about, but he hasn't been consistently good.
Yeah, for sure. And the linemen quashed the beef. Hall said later, we're both passionate guys and we just love to play, and we lost our heads, and that can't happen on the sideline. So at least they took response. I like this new age NFL where people make mistakes and they're not belligerent. They own up to it and they move on. I like this. This is a good lesson to teach men in life, men in sports. It's okay to make a mistake, and it's okay to own up to your mistake. I think that's important, for God's sakes,
I mean, look, if you can start teaching young men that, do you know how much the world will slowly start to change? You need everybody to do it. I would hope that that's being passed to young ladies as well. But if you let people know it's okay to make a mistake, but to own your mistake and to do better. Because the problem is we lambast people when they apologize. Oh, you weak bitch. You didn't mean it. You just feel like whatever. No, I meant that about the Bears defender. You only said that because you got caught again. I pun intended. But in every other case, when you mess up, own up. And I genuinely think we'll be better for it as a society.
I hope so. I mean, maybe not Nick Bosa, but everyone else. All right, let's move on to this. Let's move on to the Browns-Ravens game here. You talk about people with records and who they're losing to, who they're winning to. The Baltimore Ravens now lost to the Cleveland Browns. Jameis Winston leading the Browns' victory here, 29-24. The Ravens have now lost to the Raiders at home and these Cleveland Browns, two not good teams. And so this is an interesting situation with Baltimore, especially because they handled my Commanders. I was very frustrating watching this game. But Jameis Winston threw a 38-yard touchdown pass, his third of the game, to Cedric Tillman with 59 seconds left as Cleveland stunned the Ravens 29-24 to snap a 5-game losing streak. This was Jameis's first start in 2 years. And of course, he was replacing Deshaun Watson. He passed for 334 yards here, and they withstood the Ravens making a comeback there in the last few seconds. Lamar Jackson was 23 of 38. That's 15 misses for 289 yards and 2 touchdowns. Winston was 27 of 41. And Jameis was very, very lucky on that final drive because he threw that ball to the DB of the Ravens, and he fumbled it and dropped it. And right afterwards, Cedric Tillman caught that touchdown for for the Browns here. So, and Dustin Hopkins kicked field goals for 28, 33, and 48 for the Browns. And Nick Chubb, coming back from that injury, had 52 yards. So what do you take away from this game? These Ravens, again, being unable to hold a lead here at the end, giving it up to the Cleveland Browns, their defense falling apart to Jameis Winston, of all people. This is an interesting situation here with the Ravens in Cleveland. What do you take away from this game?
I think that the Ravens' one weakness that they've truly had in a majority of the Lamar Jackson era, honestly, is they do not do well under last-minute pressure. They have a tendency to crumble in the final minutes if things aren't going exactly their way. They got to put their foot on your neck and hold it there. Because hell, as shitty as the Cowboys are, they looked like they might be running that back for a minute. You know what I mean? And so like you barely held on with the Bengals. That was a whole thing. Like they really need to be careful about this, because again, that is where a Patrick Mahomes has a field day. That is where even a Josh Allen has a field day, because then bad offensive play calling can't stop him. He'll just be like, "Oh, you're going to give me what?" And he'll do it. They have got to figure out how to win last-minute games, because they just do not get it done.
Yeah.
And that is not good. That's really, really not good, because that is their one weakness. If you can put them against their back against the wall in the final 4 minutes of the game, they don't respond very well.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a team that 2 weeks ago, everyone was saying best team in the NFL. Who's going to beat them? They have a high-powered offense. They can get you in the run. They can get you in the air. And here they are taking another loss to a middling team in the Brown, or below middling rather, in the Cleveland Browns. So it's a shocking situation when you look at it. Yes, it's a divisional game. Yes, the Browns always play the Ravens tough. And maybe there was a desire and inspiration from Cleveland after Deshaun was knocked out. Maybe the players aren't telling you the truth. They didn't like playing for Deshaun. They like what Jameis brings to the table. And certainly Jameis did something that Deshaun hadn't done, which is to throw for over 300 yards. Deshaun has never done that as a Cleveland Brown. So the fact that he was able to do that in his first game replacing Deshaun, and his first game starting in 2, I think speaks well of Jameis Winston. And remember, he wasn't bad in New Orleans a couple of years ago. So questions abound here if maybe Jameis is going to play a good year. You know, Flacco came in last year and led the Browns to the playoffs. I don't think they're getting the playoffs, but you never know what Jameis can do here. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry. But
look, I hope Jameis doesn't end up stealing money from a bunch of poor people, but Jameis is essentially Black Brett Favre, bro. He's a gunslinger. He'll go and get you 50 touchdowns on the season, but he'll also get you 55 interceptions.
Yeah.
So it's like, bro, damn, you threw hell of the balls away, but you scored a lot. Like he takes those risks, and it's true not just with like his arm, but what he even does with his mouth, where he'd be like, you know, who's trying to get one of these? Who's trying to eat a W? Like that is Jameis Winston. You know what I'm saying? So like, the Browns are done. I think that what'll be interesting is because you just got Deontay Johnson traded to the Ravens. You just added some firepower about 6 hours ago here today. And so now when you take a little bit of that pressure off of Zay, you already have Derek running that up. So then you've essentially got Zay, likely, Mark Andrews and Deontay as your 4 like core people out here catching the ball, and then Bateman can slot in wherever you need him. Oh my God.
Right.
But now you better make sure you handle your shit when your back is against the wall.
Well, that's my point. None of this solves the defense. Signing Deontay is great. That's an up-and-coming young receiver. You get him off the Panthers. That guy was desperate to get on a team where he could really show what he could do. I think he's going to have a great career with the Ravens forever as long as he stays on there, but none of that solves the defensive issues. And I think that's where the Ravens are going to suffer a little bit. Because look, if my Commanders had Brian Robinson Jr., I think that stat line and that final score is a little different. Maybe we even win that game in Baltimore. Not having Brian Robinson Jr. was a huge loss against those Ravens because we couldn't maintain the ball in long drives and keep Lamar off the field. So to me, this is where you take a look at the defense. There's issues. We were still able to get a lot of points on the board without Brian Robinson. So I think there's issues on this Ravens defense for all the toughness about them. They got to fix that, not the offense.
They definitely do. I mean, the one thing I will give you that helps them so that they can't be drained clockwise, they have the number 1 rushing defense in the league.
Yeah.
They're only allowing 60 to 69. They're only allowing 69 yards per game. The problem is they're allowing 291 passing yards per game. They're the worst in the league for that. On top of the fact that as far as points go, let's see here. They are allowing, just missed them, Baltimore. They're allowing 26.1. They're near the bottom of the pack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's only 6 teams worse than them allowing points per game. So they at least can stop the run. And that's big, but that's not going to stop a Chiefs because, yes, it is important to have Kareem Hunt or whoever back there to help give you some stuff here and there. But Patrick Mahomes is the heart and soul of that team. You need to be able to stop Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, Josh Allen has Cook, but Josh Allen is the heart and soul of that team. You need to be able to stop Josh Allen. Like those are the things you got to worry about with the Ravens. So
they surrendered 23 points to the Raiders. They surrendered 27 points to the Chiefs, 25 points to the Cowboys. Yeah, they took care of the Bills 35 to 10. The Bengals scored 38 points on them. Washington had 23, could have been 30. Tampa Bay 31 points, and then Cleveland 29 points on them. So that doesn't bode well for your defense to allow that many points. And against, I mean, not necessarily a star-studded stack of teams. So this is a question going into, they play Denver next week. I think it's going to be tough. Then they play Cincinnati again, then Pittsburgh. And that could be for top of the division because Pittsburgh right now with that makeshift quarterback room is 6-2 and atop the division. Then they've got the Chargers, the Eagles, the Giants could be an easy one. Then they play Pittsburgh and Houston, and then who knows what they'll have when they play Cleveland again. So this is a tough next stretch of the season for these Ravens all the way to the end here, man. It's going to be a back and forth type of situation, I think.
And to that point, I think a lot of people were giving a lot of shit to Mike Tomlin about playing Fields like that, and Fields is winning games, but you bench him.
Yeah.
And why would you do that? But I think that's for the exact reason that you just saw with Russell Wilson balling out at this point. It is so that Justin got a taste of it, showed that we do have faith in you, but now we're going to go put in this vet who's won a ring, who's been to 2 championships. Let him ball out, and we want you to learn from him while that's happening. So we've shown you we believe in you, but we want you to learn under Russell. And then when he's done, because he's only got I think on a 1-year contract or something like that. If Russell doesn't want to stay or if injury happens or whatever, you've had time to learn out some of those bad habits and you know how the first team offense works and you're able to roll. So they need to be careful. The Steelers, how are the Steelers always doing this? That's what I want to know.
Because Mike Tomlin, as much as people want to kiss Belichick's ass or Bill Walsh's ass or all these great coaches, Andy Reid's ass, Mike Tomlin has done just as good of a job with all of these coaches with shittier quarterbacks than they've ever had. And I think it deserves much more respect than it gets. When he had a great quarterback in Ben Roethlisberger, I think they went to 3 Super Bowls. So like he can do it with a great quarterback. He just hasn't been able to have one under his control. And if I was Dak Prescott, I'd be looking over at Pittsburgh, maybe. I don't know. If I was, I'm just saying he's a good coach.
That's my ass. But look, bro, Tomlin has 100. His record is 176 to 101 to 2.
Yeah.
He's 8-10 in the playoffs. He's made the playoffs 11 times under the Steelers have made the playoffs 11 times under his reign.
Yeah.
Won 7 AFC North titles in that time. And has advanced to 2 Super Bowls, winning one of them. Yeah. So, like, bro, Tomlin is a fucking G, and he needs to. They gotta put that respect on his name.
I agree, and Boogie says it well. Never had under a 500 season, which means his teams have gone 500 or above the entire time he's been at Pittsburgh. That's incredible.
Hold on,
check it.
I don't know if I believe that, but you might be right.
Check it.
I'm checking it. 10-6, 12-4, 9-7, 12-4, 12-4, 8-8, 8-8, 11-5, 10-6, 11-5, 13-3, 9-6-1, 8-8, 12-4, 9-7-1, 9-8, 10-7, and 3. Well, this is behind right now, but they're 6-2.
Yeah,
Like
6-2.
that's crazy. That is absolutely insane.
Yeah. He's never had a losing season. Mike Tomlin.
But I guess that's the thing that's crazy is like it's wild that but it happens. 9-7, you missed the playoffs. 8-8 twice in a row. You missed them through the playoffs twice in a row.
I mean, remember, he was doing all this under the Brady era, which makes it really difficult.
Brady era,
you know,
and in the consistently hardest division in the league.
Yes.
The consistently hardest division in the league in the Ravens, who always play hardball. The Bengals, who, even though they don't necessarily do all that much, they've only had the one Super Bowl appearance, the 2 AFC Championship appearances, but all that Andy Dalton era, they would whoop your ass during the regular season with Marvin Lewis, and then they couldn't get out of the first round like a modern day Cowboys, or an all age Cowboys outside of the 90s. So like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's that whole division has been absolutely crazy, and the Browns sometimes like to be like, we're here too. So like, I just. That's crazy, man. That's absolutely insane.
It's amazing, right? I mean, I think it's phenomenal. And Tomlin deserves much more credit than he gets, for God's sakes. I think he's overshadowed. What's his face? There used to be the coach there, who's on the CBS, Bill Cowher. I think he's overshadowed Bill Cowher with what he's been able to do with that Steelers team, for sure. All right, listen, we're running out of time, so let's just speed through these games here because I had Jalen Hurts and Saquon, but let's just throw that into the rest of the games. Jalen and the Eagles with Saquon Barkley here beat the Bengals 37-17 with Jalen Hurts going 16 for 20 for 236 yards. He had 10 carries for 37 yards, and Barkley rushed for 108 yards. Jared Goff threw for 3 touchdowns and led the Lions to a victory over the Titans 52-14, was crushing defeat. The Patriots sent Rodgers and the Jets to a 5th straight loss with Jacoby Brissett. Drake May didn't even play. The Rams with Cooper Kupp and Nakua back. Stafford threw 4 touchdowns. As you said, they look dangerous now, 30-20 over the Vikings, and a questionable face mask call that didn't get called there.
Was very much a face mask.
We're going to take a look. The Packers beat the Jags 30-27 with the 4th straight win, but Jordan Love is out with a groin injury. He may be out for a few weeks, people are reporting. Kirk Cousins threw for 276 yards and 4 touchdowns, lead the Falcons over the Bucs 31-26. Kyler Murray rallied the Cardinals to a win over the Dolphins in Tua's return, 28-27. CJ Stroud threw a touchdown pass. Joe Mixon ran for a touchdown, and the Texans outlasted the Colts 23-20. And rookie Bo Nix had 3 touchdowns to lead the Broncos over the Panthers 28-14. So, Winston, what do you take away from these games? What do you want to talk about? There are a few things here in these games we should discuss. What do you want to start?
I mean, look, someone was saying you still think Jalen Hurts sucks. I think that Jalen Hurts just having a couple of games. Someone said he didn't turn over the ball all of October. He played 3 games in all of October because he had a bye week. So, there's that. So, maybe he turned it over in practice. I don't know what the fuck to tell you. But I just need to see a consistency again. That this was a very good win, though the Bengals have not been a very good defense. So, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not – I just need to see him consistently do it, and all of a sudden, then fine. I unfortunately have to admit that he's back to form. He has had a string of bad play prior to this. So just 2 to 3 games ain't going to cut it. Like, the same way with Sam Darnold, we were like, damn, they 3-0? Sam Darnold good? I don't know yet. Damn, they 4-0? Is Sam Darnold good? They 5-0. Then all of a sudden, like, you know what I'm saying? That's now a chunk of time. That's over a quarter of play. It's kind of like if a quarterback plays well in 1 quarter, but shits the bed the other 3, you're not going, that's a good ass quarterback. You're going, he had a decent quarter, but he just couldn't keep it together the rest of the game. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I just need to see him do it for a little bit longer, and then I have to, unfortunately, be like, God damn it, Jalen Hurts is back. So there's that. But the one thing I want to talk about, I want to share this amazing breakdown from TikTok real quick about the Rams and the Vikings. My girlfriend was the one that put me onto this, but check this out, bro. This was a master class done by the LASIK people.
This is some incredible active marketing from LASIK. During the Thursday night football game, there was a very apparent face mask that was completely missed by the refs. To give you some context, this is happening towards the very end of the game. This is the Vikings' last chance to get some points on the board and come back. And Sam Darnold, the quarterback, was pulled down to the ground by his face mask. You can see the defender comes in, grabs his head, and whips his head down. And there were 2 refs right there in the end zone. All of the
Looking
replays
at it.
have refs in them right there. This guy was at the back, and then the other guy was kind of on the side, and you can see both of them staring directly at what's happening. So this tweet alone from LASIK would be a pretty funny reactive post
Better vision,
saying
better calls.
vision, better calls for those refs who didn't see what they should have
It's
seen.
amazing.
They took it a step further because they are offering free LASIK to referees.
Oh my God.
For this better vision, better calls initiative.
Oh my God.
Rules about nominating, saying that referees and officials across all of these different organizations are eligible. But they're also offering something to people who are not referees, because if you nominate someone for this initiative, then you get a deal for your own procedure. Reactive marketing. We love to see it.
How
That's
genius is that?
amazing. That's
How
amazing.
genius is that, bro? That is absolutely phenomenal.
Genius.
I'm surprised that there's probably some people from Minnesota that are already sending that to the refs about what happened with the Liberty and whether or not Breanna Stewart actually got fouled in that last minute and whatnot. All of that is absolutely hysterical. I feel like everybody needs to call it out on them damn Chiefs refs. They need to have their asses checked the fuck out. But all of that was it's a fantastic marketing campaign. I absolutely love
that's genius.
They did that. That's just all I want to talk about. That was very clearly a face mask call. Your head can't be this way and your body this way, bro. That's not how that works.
Tony Kornheiser on PTI said they got to change that rule because that's not reviewable, because that is your premier game on a Thursday night. You're trying to get new fans to be part of the NFL. You can't have mistakes like that on your premier game. That's the only game of the night. Everyone's watching it. You can't have those kinds of mistakes. I think he's 100% right. And so hopefully they'll make some changes here for that kind of situation. But the NFL never makes changes in season. It rarely, if ever, makes changes in season. It's always competition committee afterwards. Yeah.
Bro, someone got cussed out of my fantasy football league on some making up rules shit without talking to nobody. Not even mid-season, mid-fucking week, bro. Mid-week. Homie didn't realize that Puka Nacua wasn't on IR anymore, and he complained about it. And the commissioner just went. So, as you know, if you have an ineligible person in IR, you cannot manipulate the rest of your roster. And
right, exactly. You got to drop somebody.
Not just drop them. If you can't move them out of that spot, if they're ineligible, it locks your roster.
Right.
And so this dude wasn't paying attention, even though he admitted he was like, I've been monitoring Puka all week. So it's not like this came out of the blue. He'd been monitoring him all week until Thursday. We asked if there was an emergency. He's like, no, I just didn't change it. And then he couldn't move his roster. So the commissioner goes, fine, and move the guy out of IR without talking to anybody else. And he was able to play people, and he ended up winning. I am fucking furious about that shit. So, yeah, you have to wait until the season is over unless you have an emergency meeting of owners saying we got to change stuff. But you already review stuff for scoring plays in under 2 minutes. How the fuck can you not include in that particular moment? Okay, that's an egregious foul. That is an egregious foul. We have to give him that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy.
I agree. A couple of things I want to talk about here. We want to talk about Bo Nix. I think he's looking great. CJ Stroud coming back is nice. Kyler Murray, Tua's back, man. Are we concerned about this? I mean, he said he's not going to do anything different. He's going to play the game. They lost. But what are your thoughts here, man? Is this hanging over the Dolphins season for the rest of the season? This fear that he's one hit away from possibly dying or getting irreparable brain damage. What are your thoughts on this, man?
I mean, at this point, man, especially considering how he has decided to talk about it, I don't care. I don't, because I all of the sympathy that I had, and I'm not even saying to force you to retire, because I can't tell you, I think you should, but nobody can force you to do that. But even when asked about the Guardian cap, that was never a thought in my mind. No, I'm not doing that. Who does it hurt? Unless you're like, hey, let me be real with you. When those caps are on, it interferes with the radio signal, so I can't hear plays. It somehow obscures my vision. Give me a reason. But just no, I'm not doing that. Then I don't have sympathy anymore. I will be like, fuck, if he does actually die on the field. But I will not be emotional for you, because you have made a decision. You have made a decision, and you think that that's right for you. So if you don't care, I don't care.
I'm concerned because there are people on his own team who are wearing those helmets. So I
That's what I'm
don't
saying.
understand why he won't wear it himself. Like there's people on his team have no worry about it. Why wouldn't you do it just for precaution? You have kids, you have a wife, you have a future. And are you just saying, well, if we lose or if I die, they're taken care of, so I'm going to play my way? I don't understand the logic, you know?
I think that what should go on in this particular case, and this should be in a conversation for the NFL in the offseason as far as a ruling.
Yeah.
If you have had, a concussion on the season, I think you should be required to wear the Guardian helmet until the season is out.
That's
and fair. If you do something along those lines, they should talk about that. Here's somebody saying his body is choice. Sure. You're exactly right. He can do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
He's a grown man with body autonomy, which everybody should fucking have.
Everybody should have.
We're not gonna get in that conversation right now, but we know this.
Yes.
So he can do what he wants, but I don't have to feel sorry for him. And I don't anymore. I genuinely don't, because it's not just he's decided to play, because I was just like, damn, all right. It was the way he flippantly talked about the Guardian cap and didn't give any reason. He's like, nope, I'm not doing it. Never thought about doing it. Yeah. I was like, oh, so are you actually taking this seriously or nah, bro? Because at least if you gave me a reason why you weren't going to wear it, then I'd feel differently. But I just can't. I can't spend I have so many things to worry about. I can't spend my energy worrying about that.
Fair enough, dude. Rodgers is done. I think we've said that very clearly. He can't blame anybody else now, dude. I mean, the Jets suck. Rodgers Annie Agar did a great breakdown, said that he's in a darker place than he was when he went away in that cave in the offseason. And I agree. I agree. This is where Rodgers is. It couldn't happen to a better fucking person what is happening here. I love it. And I'm sorry, Ed. I know it's your Jets. And I love the Jets, by the way. I'm a Joe Namath guy from the beginning. That's how I became a Jets fan, is watching old footage of Namath. I hate to see this happening to the Jets, but I love that it's happening to Rodgers. And it's exposing. Devontae Adams didn't help one motherfucking bit. And it's like, there's the truth. He's a crap quarterback. He can't blame anybody else. He needs to get the fuck out of the league once and for all. Go and be a right-wing crazy fucking host and go make your money. Go on McAfee and swing off his dick for the rest of your life, because this is terrible what he's doing here in the NFL, man.
Rocha, you're not going to like this, bro.
Yeah.
But Freddie Freeman has done it again. First at bat, home fucking run, a 2-run home run already at the start of the game. They're still.
Why am I even recording the game to watch later if Winston's going to give me the updates? God damn it, stop spoiling the game.
Didn't know you were recording. My fault, but I got an alert being like, he did it again. He just broke a World Series record for the amount of home runs he's hit already. I don't know what to tell
you. Son of a bitch. We're going to get swept. This is the worst. It's so embarrassing, man. And is there anything else I wanted to talk about? No, let's get into this NFL news real quick, and then we'll get into the stuff to wrap up the show. But the Colts are benching Richardson for Flacco. Are you happy about this? Do you think this makes sense? Is it time?
Richardson said out loud, I was tired, man. I understand that you just had 2 rushing games in a row, but you know what you're not supposed to admit as a motherfucking professional? That you're tired and you needed a breathe. Like, yeah, you do, but don't say that in the presser. We just had I thought I had maybe a stinger. I'm okay though. Said lie, bro. Yeah. Like, I get the whole idea of honesty, but you know what you cannot admit? You are the starting quarterback. Shut up. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I don't know what's going to happen with that kid. I don't talk about, you just don't know what you're going to get with Richardson from play to play, not even from game to game or series to series, from play to play. You don't know what you're going to get from Richardson. Could be a 62-yard bomb. Could be, I can't even know what is a football, and dropping it for a fumble. So it's just crazy, man. The Minnesota Vikings acquired Jacksonville Jaguars left tackle Cam Robinson on Tuesday. So I imagine that's to help Sam Darnold and protect his backside. I think they realize that if we can keep Sam Darnold upright, we might have a chance to win these games. Do you like this for them? Do you think this helps the Vikings big time?
Absolutely, because you're also going to allow Aaron Jones more time to cook. Like, that part of the reason why Sam has been doing so well. He has elite targets. He has an incredible running back. And if you're upping his protection, that protection will also help Aaron Jones be even better. So, I think that's a great pickup.
Aaron Rodgers says that he has found the fountain of youth. He is drinking cayenne pepper and water. When are we done with this idiot's bullshit? Do you think? I'm just asking a question.
I have done cayenne pepper and water and lemon juice. That's something that I used to do back in the day when I did the fat flush.
Did it fix your hamstring? Because that's what he's claiming. It's that it fixes his hamstrings.
It helps with it with inflammation and whatnot. So okay, cool, but it's not the fountain of you. Maybe he was just speaking hyperbole. But whatever.
Okay, he needs something for his brain, not his body. Wide receiver Stephon Diggs. So the Texans, he is out for the season, Winston, with a torn ACL. That is a massive loss for the Texans.
Bro, that's not good. I would actually. Did it happen on the field?
Yes, it wasn't even a non-contact. It just was juking off the defender and completely apparently tore it. So
I feel like Offset did some voodoo on that. You can't be sleeping with the dude's ex-wife that's pregnant, bro. That feels like like I've always said that their little ad libs were actually little spells. They were like, "I still like just you probably yelled that one time, and that's just that."
Oh my god!
They need Nico back badly. They need Nico back badly.
Oh my god! Yeah, 2:01 remaining in the third quarter. It was total non-contact play. He just turned on his knee. He cut inside on the route, grabbed his right knee, and then boom, went immediately down.
That wasn't even the worst knee injury, the worst leg injury I saw. Did you see the Jazz player last night?
No, I haven't seen any of the highlights from that. Oh,
I'll send it to you, but we don't need to play that on the show because it is gruesome. If you guys want to, you can go look it up. It's on Twitter. But oh my god. Wow. His leg, when it was over, looked like Rick James in the Dave Chappelle sketch. His legs looked like Linguini. My legs, like, oh God.
We talk about oil.
Did you cook it?
All right, let's hit a couple of these stream labs. We got a few minutes left, and we got to get these last two stories here, but. Fredtastic says, hey, game time. The MVP award is overrated because seldom does that award lead to a Super Bowl win because who cares if your team can't make it out of the second round? Also, best army you've ever seen, Jeff George and Randall Cunningham for me. Fuck Jeff George, man. Randall, I'll give you, but fuck Jeff George. I would say Michael Vick. Michael Vick is one of the greatest arms I've ever seen. And my girlfriend's going to come through the door and hit me with a baseball bat because she loves dogs. But like Michael Vick is one of the dude,
he done his time. He's one of the most outspoken people about. I will happily have that conversation. I forget what ethnicity is your lady.
She's a Native American. She will climb on you and kill you.
Which is fair. She's very in touch with the land. I get it, but at the same time, it's one of the things that I've said a million times. Either we believe in the idea of punishment and growth, or we don't. And knowing that he is the biggest advocate, one of the biggest in the world to stop animal abuse at this point.
It's true.
And it's one of the leading reasons that a lot of urban youth, like a lot of black and brown youth, don't involve themselves in that anymore because of him saying, nah, we can't be doing this. It doesn't mean you forgive him for the stuff that he's done, but he's done his time. We've got to let that go. I'm sorry.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, good question there. What about you, Winston? Do you have the best arm you've ever seen in the NFL?
I mean, I honestly would say Breeze at his peak. Breeze was crazy, bro.
Breeze. Like that's a great Breeze
one. He almost had that rookie of the year. You remember that movie with the kid? All of a sudden his elbow tendons were like crazy, like boom. That's what Breeze's arm would look like. He would throw bombs, man.
Yeah. I just know that with Vic, he could stand on the 20 and throw a 70-yarder. That was one of the most insane things I've ever saw, man.
It's his legs because the amount of power he had in his legs to run around like that, it translates to your throw.
Yeah, it's because he was half dog. He had that dog in him, as they say. Sean Brennan says, hello, blood feuders. What's up, Sean? Glad you're back. Almost halfway through the season. Who are your top 5 teams right now, and who has been the surprise of the league so far? All love to you guys. Hashtag game time forever. My Commanders are the surprise for me. I mean, I think the Vikings were, but they've come back down to earth the last 2 weeks. I would say my Commanders have consistently played well since the first game, and I'm surprised we're in a position that we're in right now. Top 5 teams, that's a little tougher. What's your surprise, Winston? Or do you have your top 5 teams ready to go?
Does it need to be a positive surprise?
No, whatever. I think it could be anything. You said surprise.
Then I think that the Bengals is my surprise that I'm
Oh,
genuinely
great
shocked
point. Great
that
point.
they have fallen off this hard. Now
Yeah.
you've been flirting with danger for a while that they always start slow and then pick it up. But
Yeah.
I am genuinely surprised by how bad they've been. It doesn't make sense to me, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. I didn't necessarily have a lot of faith in the Jets because you got a 40-year-old man coming off of an Achilles injury. The Vikings did shock me. It definitely shocked me. I don't think that the magic is over. But it just made that division ridiculous to have to get. That's a gauntlet to get out of. But top 5 teams in the league. Obviously the Chiefs, you're undefeated.
Yeah.
You need to put some respect on your name when you do something like that. I gotta say the Lions.
Okay.
They've just been absolutely ridiculous. 5-game winning streak. Like it's just absolutely crazy to see what they're doing. I gotta say, probably it doesn't make any sense, but the Steelers, I don't know how you did it. They don't seem that lethal until you play them, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? And then probably that. How many is that? That's 1, 2, 3. That's 4.
Yeah.
The last one, I'll give it to the because Love keeps getting hurt. All right, I'll give it to the Texans, though. It's going to be weird. I'm not going to necessarily give it to. No, I guess I have to give it to the Bills. What am I talking about? I got to give it to the Bills because the Texans losing Diggs and you still don't have Collins back. That's a lot of question marks. So I got to go the Bills.
That's an excellent point. Yeah, I would say definitely the Chiefs begrudgingly. I say the Lions. I'd even say the Packers. I think the Lions and Packers are especially if Jordan Love's hurt for an extended period of time, then the Packers take a little bit of a step down. But for right now, I put them in the mix for sure with the Chiefs. I still say the Ravens, even though they've taken that loss to the Browns. That's the divisional thing. I can kind of push past that. And then the Bills, obviously. And I just said about the Texans, I think there's just too much injuries. And they haven't impressed me as strongly as I was expecting the Texans to do that. It feels like they're one play away from losing every game they're in. So I don't feel strength off of that necessarily. So that's what I would say right now. That's my top 5.
I didn't include the Ravens, did I?
Oh, no, you didn't. No.
I would put them right at 6 because I'm a little more concerned about their ability to win from behind more so than I am Josh Allen winning a game in the last minute. They both kind of have a similar issue, but I have a little bit more faith in Josh Allen to do it because he kind of does it consistently, whereas that has been typically Lamar's problem in the playoffs. He cannot do that last thing that he needs to do. So that's all.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about Nick Bosa, man. Let's bring this up, this footage. Nick Bosa, after the 49ers beat the Cowboys there on their home turf, Nick Bosa walked into a post-game interview here with Melissa Stark, talking to Brock Purdy, George Kittle there. You see him, and he was not questioned. He walked in, pointed to his MAGA hat, and then ran off the screen. Everyone's laughing. It's weird. He's getting all this shit, but everyone's laughing at the situation. But when he was asked later about doing what he did, Bosa didn't. He responded with a weak ass. I don't want to talk about it now. It's just an important time in America. Let's take a look at that real quick, so you guys are all on the same page on this. He was asked about wearing the hat to the interview, and this is what he said.
I'm not going to talk too much about it, but I think it's an important time.
There it is. The badass Nick Bosa with apparently the balls of steel said, I'm not going to talk about it right now, but it's an important time in America. No shit, Sherlock, it's an election. But this reaction here, I think is so ridiculous because everyone is looking over it. And here's Colin Kaepernick a few years ago, also in a 49ers jersey, going down on one knee, protesting police brutality, and he was essentially blackballed out of the league. The NFL has said nothing about this situation. It is super frustrating to watch the hypocrisy and double standard here from the NFL because they know they've got a shit ton of fans in red state areas and in MAGA country, and they don't want to say anything. And it's easier to drum out a black guy than to drum out a big white guy from the NFL. So what are your thoughts on what Bosa did here, Winston, overall?
The only thing I have to say about that, because you already kind of touched on it, is at least Colin Kaepernick stood on business, bitch.
Yeah.
He stood on business. He spoke about what was going on.
Yep.
And you already know, ain't nobody going to kick you out of the league for saying you like Donald Trump. You're going to get lambasted by liberals and people that aren't that aren't here for Trump's nonsense,
Yeah.
and Puerto Rico is a trash island bullshit. But
Yeah.
stand on business. If that's how you feel, if you got the balls enough to run into an interview, make America great again, then stand on business. Answer the fucking question.
Defend your position. Yeah, defend why you did the things that you did. I think that's the thing at the end of the day. Believe what you want to believe, but stand behind it and speak about it and talk about why you said the things you said.
Either shut the fuck up, or speak, like literally stand on business. That's it. Keep the same energy. You were happy to run up with the hat before, and unless we heard something where somebody lambasted him in the front office, being like, "You need to stop."
Yeah,
and there's a possibility that's the case. But if I'm him, you're winning. You're the leader of the fucking team. Just do whatever the fuck you want. If you stand on business, keep the same energy. That's it.
Yep. Sean said it best. Notice how all the keep politics out of sports people are quiet as hell right now. Absolutely agree with you. And even followed up by saying they don't want politics out of sports. They want black politics out of sports. That is 100%.
1,000%. They want our bodies, but they don't want our minds. That is something that a number of civil rights people have said in the past. They that is what they wanted from us when we were dragged here. That's what they wanted from us. Even now, we may be free, but like the biggest commodity is a black body, not a black mind.
Well, and here's the thing. This would not you couldn't get away with this in the NBA. LeBron would be one of the first people out front calling you out for pulling this shit during an NBA sideline or after game, post game interview. Where are the black players in the NFL stepping up and calling him out? Mahomes his wife is MAGA, so he's going to say shit. But like, there should be black players that are stepping up to call out Bosa. Why aren't they or other white players or other players of color in the NFL stepping up to call this shit out? They're all silent. And this would not happen in the NBA, man.
If I had to guess, it's because it was a 5-second moment. It was him running, and then he didn't make a speech. Yeah. He didn't like go on a tirade or anything like that. He just ran up, showed the hat, and ran off. And so because of that, I don't think that there is a need for them to do that. I just think I would love to see, because a more problematic issue, even though they're not in the league anymore, is Le'Veon Bell and fucking Antonio Brown.
Oh,
we know that Antonio Brown is nuts as shit, but I guess Le'Veon, we're starting to see with him holding out. I was like, yeah, get your money, and now I'm like, maybe you're crazy ass. That made sense why they didn't pay you either. Either way, it's one of those situations where it's like, again, if you're gonna stand for something, then stand for it. That's all I'm gonna say. Don't like, it is what it is.
Watching those two, all I think is CT is real, boys. That's all I can think of. Let's move on to something funnier here real quick as we wrap up. Let's talk about the Dwayne Wade statue. Winston, we have to talk about this reveal. The Dwayne Wade statue. A lot of people were talking about this. Here is the reveal. Let me turn it down. That is supposedly Dwayne Wade pointing down, and they pan to Dwayne Wade, who's like, oh, yeah, that's me. Now, listen, Dwayne Wade was involved in the statue situation. Now, I love the memes. I mean, these memes have been incredible. I mean, look at the memes. It's insane to see the memes. Where this one? I mean, come on.
Sword Auto one fucking got me, bro. Oh man.
Where's the Matrix one? Yes, this one is incredible. That's Morpheus.
Oh, God.
I mean, these are all just phenomenal situations here, these memes. But yeah, I mean, that's I mean, this one here is rough in the mask. So yeah, I mean, what? Yeah, this one putting the glasses on and his turtleneck. Winston, what the hell happened here, man? He was involved, by the way, with the whole project, and he has said, like, I don't care about the criticism. Not a lot of people get a statue. People don't understand how hard it is to get a statue done. I'm very happy with the statue. So what are your thoughts on this, man?
That my guy is just a very humble dude. because hell no. This is why you always have to have a good core group of people around you. That's why you bring your boys and shit. That's why you bring your Gabrielle Union and you go, baby, before we reveal this, what you think?
Yeah.
Hell no. Do that shit again. You want us to help pony up some money? I'll pony up some money to fix this shit because that shit look ridiculous. He's just being gracious, and I appreciate him for that. Have you seen the Kobe statue up here? That shit look good.
Yeah, the Kobe statue looks fantastic. Yes,
the Kobe statue look good, and that is your immediate rival as far as your era.
Yeah,
damn, bro.
Yeah, I mean, let's real quick. I know we got to go, but real quick, let's take a look. Like that's the Iverson statue. I think it's not bad. I mean, it still looks like
looks a little short, though. It looks like a toddler dribbling a basketball.
That's what it looks like. You're right about that. Here's the Magic statue. It's not a bad statue.
It's not bad.
Kind of looks like him. There's the Kobe statue. There, it looks very much like him. It's a variation. And there's the Jordan. That's the number one. I mean, that is the statue. So, yeah, a little weird, Winston. A little weird with this situation.
He's just being gracious. He's being gracious, and good for him because that's forever, bro.
Yeah,
you don't get to make that again unless you secretly have somebody do a hit on you, like the statue gets destroyed over some debauchery. They got to build it again. That is forever.
He may be behind. There is no way LeBron hasn't texted him and given him shit about that statue. There's no.
I guarantee you, everybody in the league, Chris Bosh throwing jokes. Like everybody that he knows from Chicago has been clowning his ass. Bro, black people that he doesn't know have been clowning him for 48 hours. You don't think that the black people that are in his life have gone full just arsenal, just like just, oh my God, he's the most supportive person in the world of his child. And I bet his child is dropping all sorts of jokes on his ass.
Of course. Oh my God. All right. Well, all right, let's get out of here. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us. We appreciate y'all madly. Thanks for the lively chat. Thanks for the Streamlabs. We appreciate it so much. Please remember to subscribe to the channel. Let us know what you thought about all the games as we talked about them. Winston A, another fun show. Please let people know where they can find you and all the stuff you got going on, brother man.
You can find me at the Swaggy Blurred on all platforms, but especially here on YouTube. I'm out here getting closer and closer, trying to get to 4,000, man. You know, we're building it up and up and up, and I'm getting into a little bit more of a consistent schedule. So a Blurred Breakdown came out earlier this afternoon, where I did a little bit of sports stuff. I talked about the World Series, talked about the Lakers' hot start. I've been doing a segment called Diddy or Didn't He? And keeping you up to date on everything that's been going on with the Diddy lawsuits and everything. It still tickles you, huh?
I love it. Listen, they came out today and said Diddy got names and dates and account and like he got ledgers. If he's got a ledger,
did he? I didn't see that.
Yes, it came out that he's got a ledger of everybody who was at his parties, how long they were at his parties, what the dates are, and the names. Let me tell you something. If he's got that, they're going to kill him or he's never going to see a day in jail. There's no either option.
Well, I'm excited for the next episode of Blurred Breakdown. They're apparently coming on Thursday because I had recorded at like 1 a.m. for today. So I didn't even see that he got the ledger today. That's crazy. But covering everything from that to Tony Hinchcliffe and really how out of touch that situation is. I think he's a fantastic roast comedian. But that was not it. And I talk about all of that. So come and check it out, man. And Capes and Cows on Friday.
That's right. Capes and Cows this weekend. That's right. Oh, on Friday. That's right. They're there with Winston. Thank you all so much. If you want to hear more from us, we have an episode of Spill the Tequila up on the Outlaw Nation channel. If you haven't checked that out, our most recent episode dropped on Friday. We get in some of the political stuff, but also some of the entertainment stuff and a little sports stuff as well. Because, of course, we couldn't go one episode without talking about Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese. It is up there for you all to listen and watch.
Well. You did it here. Look at that. We did. You did it this time. I did. I had 1 hour, 33 minutes, and 53 seconds.
You win. But we appreciate you. You can follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And again, please subscribe to the channel. And we'll talk to you next week with another brand new episode here of Game Time. Peace until then.